Hi, my name is Holly Bess Kincaid, and I'm an art educator in Virginia. And I am here today to share with you one of my favorite online tools that I have used quite a bit in my classroom. And that is Canva.com. So we are actually on the Canva.com website. And this page specifically, I want to draw your attention to. So Canva.com/education. You can get an upgraded membership to Canva where you get all kinds of wonderful resources for free, as if you were paying for a pro membership. So that's going to be the first thing I'm going to have you do, is make sure that you sign up for your Canva for Education account. So you just go to the website that you see at the top of the screen, www.canva.com/education. There, you're going to give some information, basic things to prove that you're an educator. You'll share your school's name and some email or different information that you might need to share with on how you might use Canva. And you're going to get the benefits of millions of images, fonts, graphics, videos, animation. You're going to have the ability to remove backgrounds from pictures, upload your school logo and fonts. There's going to be so many different things that are going to be added to your account for free. So do that first. And then let's get started on all of the ways that you can use Canva in your classroom. Let's check out my own homepage. So here we are. We are in my Canva login. And I'm going to just give you a little tour of the site and how to use this tool, because that's really what it is. And whatever you are needing to create, whether it's a presentation for your classroom or for a conference, if you are creating handouts for your class, posters for the hallway, celebrating Youth Art Month, or an art show that you're having in your district, this is going to be a place that you're going to be able to create those files very quickly, and they're going to look very professional. So I'm going to show you some of the ways that I have used Canva in my own classroom over the last few years. Some of the benefits and the ways that you can actually work collaboratively with other people, which I think let's work smarter, not harder, right? This last year has taught us so many things as we have worked virtually. We've been in hybrid situations. We've been in person. So many different things that we've had to adjust to. And so having the ability to do presentations, to do online formatted worksheets and things easily and beautifully has been a blessing. So let's check out some of the things. Let's take a tour. So if we look, first of all, I've logged in, and you can see over here, I'm going to scoot over. So over here on the left-hand side of the screen, this is going to be your organizational space. I can actually organize all of the documents that I create so that I can easily find them. Now, one of the benefits that I have found to Canva is that you can do it mobily. So you can download their app on your phone or on an iPad, and you can do that on the go as well. So that's a benefit to know. And I love the app. It really works well. So over here on the left, you can see I have folders, I've got classwork, I've got all of the different things that have been shared with me as well. So I had mentioned, here's all my designs is the first one. Shared with you is going to be a place where if you have colleagues that you're working collaboratively with. During the COVID closures, I was blessed. My colleague who teaches at the other middle school here in Harrisonburg City Public Schools, she and I worked collaboratively to create lessons and presentations for our students and choice boards. And we could each create those documents, share them with each other, and have the ability to co-edit and add to those documents. So it's a great way that you can actually have a collaborative workspace online. So those are going to be the documents that are shared with me. Now, I also use Canva as part of my leadership roles in different organizations. Currently, I am very active with the Virginia Art Education Association as their president. And many times I've created different things for our social media and different events that we might have. And that would also be a place where my advocacy chairperson or policy person will be able to share some documents with me, and we can share and work collaboratively. So that would be under Shared with You. Now, if I kind of scroll down here, you're going to see all your folders. I love this feature. So right now you are seeing my folders. This is the place where I can easily find the things that I might want to share. You see choice boards. Choice boards was something that I started using early on last March when we had our early closures. Choice boards were a way I was able to send information home to my students so that they could choose their creative adventure for the class week. Students would choose these different choice boards. There were themes, whether it was Portrait Week or Earth Week or Still Life, and each one of the options would then give students a way that they could choose what they wanted to really focus their learning on. And we worked collaboratively here in Harrisonburg to be able to add the different parts of the lesson. This was then taken and embedded in a Google Slides and uploaded to Google Classroom. And students could actually click and hyperlink on any of the items to find more in-depth information on that particular lesson, project, or a little bit of inspiration that might inspire students to be creative. And this was a great way to keep the visuals going. So we had different ways that we had a hero week. And you can see here for Hero Week, we had a quote, and each one of these was going to be one of the squares in the grid. And students were able to design a superhero outfit or a photo challenge if they wanted to dress up and cosplay. They could design their own comic book cover, create a comic based on an everyday hero, which was one of my personal favorites. And students created a little zine and created their own little heroes. I had one student who actually focused her comic on her mother, who was a nurse, which was really wonderful. And you can kind of see that it's a little glimpse there of that challenge. You can see actually some student examples that are in the picture there. And that's one of the great things about Canva. You can upload your own images. You don't have to just use stock images that are already on the site. You can upload your own. And so this is kind of a little glimpse as to what a choice board might look like. Now, all of these images can then be uploaded and edited. And anything that is here, you can see I can hover over and change, edit, or add to if needed. And so what you would do is if I wanted to upload a different picture, I can adjust that, I can edit it. There is even filters and effects at the top. So you can see when I've highlighted the picture at the top of the screen, you're going to see options. Effects are going to pull up over here on the left. And there's some basic effects that you can do, whether it's changing the color or the contrast. You can also filter it. So there are some super basic ones, making it black and white, to some different basic filters. You can adjust the image, the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, the tint, if you wanted it to blend into a color scheme. So all of those things are available right here in Canva. You don't need to edit the picture in a different app or a different piece of software. You can do it right in Canva, which is great. It's a one-stop shop in a lot of ways for different elements. And so all of those things can be done here. You can crop it, you can flip the picture. The text itself, if I click on the text, You can see also at the top of the screen, we have our editing toolbar. So those items, you can change the font, and there are so many different fonts that you can use, and you can even upload your own font. So if you have created your own font, or if there's a specific type of font that you love to use and it's not in the program, you can upload it. So that's a great resource as well. But you can see, you can go through and look through the fonts. You can search at the top and see if you can find the font that you want to use. The size of the font is then going to be found here. You can simply use the plus or the minus to make the text smaller or larger, or you can actually just click on the number and type whatever size you want it to be. The color of the font can be changed, can change the alignment of the text. So if it's centered or off to the right or the left, you get to decide. You can add bullets, and there's different effects too, which are really great when you do presentations. So some things to kind of keep in mind, because you can animate text. So if this might be something that I was putting on social media, I might want to add animated text to catch someone's eye. Or if this is going to be in a presentation that I was sharing with my students, or even on Google Classroom or in Canva, you can make it an animated GIF that you can upload to get your students' attention. So something to remember there. I love those features. So it really depends on what you're using it for. But you can see this was kind of a little glimpse as to how I did one of my choice boards. You can then download over in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little button, and you can click download and download it in a JPEG, a PNG file, or a PDF. I could download just one particular page or all of them together in a zip file. I can also share them as a link. So if I'm wanting to share this with a colleague so that they can use the items as well in their own classroom, I could hit share and be able to share those items. So there's lots of ways that you can change, edit, and share and download to use these in other places. So this is just a glimpse into a choice board. Now, Canva has so many different options. So let's go to the homepage and check out some of the things that we can do and some of the other ways that I've used Canva. So here we go. So here we are back on the homepage. You can see you can design anything. It's not lying. There's so much you can do. Really? The imagination that we can just take off and go wild. For our teachers, right? We're creative thinkers. There's so many ways that I've used Canva. And I want to share a couple other things that I've done. So I'm going to go back over to my folders. And let's look at some of the other ways that I've used Canva. And then I'm going to show you how to use it yourself. So we're back in my folders. You can see I've used it for social media. I've used it for my classroom for choice boards. I've used it personally to create cards for colleagues that are retiring, or even for some students that are graduating for graduation announcements. So there's some great ways that you can do for personal things as well. I can also use it for my Virginia Art Education Association or whatever association that you are working with to create social media or documents that will stand out and use your logo or your formatted colors that you want to do. So it all looks seamless and connected. So branding is really a wonderful thing that you can kind of keep the colors and schemes and logos that you use with your specific tastes in mind. And then let's go over. So I have a folder over here. It's called School Documents. Let's take a glimpse. So here are a few ways that I've used Canva. I don't have all of them in this folder, but let's just take a quick glimpse. I'm going to scoot over. So over here, you can see I actually did my resume here on Canva. I'm able to update it and change it and go through and add and edit whenever I need to, but I've been able to make it really fun and colorful. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've done. So right here, this little glimpse. Let's take a closer look, shall we? This. So what this is, it's a half-page printed little tip and tutorial for students. Now, I do modified choice in my classroom, and a lot of times I will have projects or lesson prompts and ideas for students. Now, this is printed and put in a little plexiglass frame that sits right in the middle of the table. This has a lot of extra reasons why I love this so much. So, it's one of my favorite little tips. I print this. It's got the tutorials and the steps to create their own iPad portrait. So right here at the top, the students can go back and remember each of the steps that they need to do to create their own portrait. I've gone over the directions. They've seen a video, they've watched, they've learned, but they're in the midst of creating. What was that other step? It's right there on the table tent. It's right there for them. It's going to have a picture that's going to give them an image to also reflect. Now, in my school, I have students that speak 64 different languages at home. So pictures are also extremely helpful. I also have a little banner, and that's going to have vocabulary that they need to know, some of the expectations that I'm looking for when I'm grading or assessing their work to show that they're really knowing what to do, and their SOLs. Now, this is great for students. So as they're working, as they're creating, it stops a little bit of those, Miss, what do I do? What do I do? They can look. They can really have control of their own learning and have some ownership and be able to look and see what the next step is so that they themselves can self-pace their creative journey. Now, this is probably the thing that I love the most. So I tend to have administrators and guests pop by to say hi because we're always doing something fun in the art room. And when they come in and they see these sitting in the middle of the table, now some students might be working on their iPads. Other students might be on a different project. Or some students maybe missed a day and needed to go back and finish a project. But the administrators or the guests can see these sitting in the middle of the table. And it gives them an entryway into conversations with students. The administrator can quickly look at these and understand what the learning goals and outcomes should be. What's some vocabulary that students should know and understand and be able to discuss, and really a glimpse at what we're hoping to see created. Now, everybody's is going to be different because there's a lot of options for creativity and personal choice and voice in these projects, but it's going to give them a little bit of an understanding. So when they sit down at the table, they're able to have a conversation with students. Ask them what they're creating and have those students really tell them a little bit about their work. So it's going to have both of them feel very comfortable with what they need to know and understand and what the students are trying to do. And if the student is a little timid when they're having some adults come in, they can also look to these and share that with the administrator and say, yeah, here, look, this is what I'm doing, and point to those things that they're learning and studying and doing. So this example that was here is actually a Kincaid Wiley self-portrait. Students were looking at historical portraits that spoke to them and creating self-portraits that really echoed a little bit about who they are, where they're from. Because my students are from so many different places around the world, it's a way for us to get to know each other. And they create their own printed background that is uploaded onto their iPad. So that's a little glimpse of that. Now, these I can print them and have them available. I have little folders in my classroom where students can grab and get the one that they need to have at their table. And you can see as I scroll, there's one for radial design, and it has the example and again the steps. So it's that simple format that students can learn and understand the steps, the example, the SOLs, and the vocabulary. Now, when I am creating a new one of these for the students, I can simply hit this little plus sign with a little page, and that duplicates the page. And I've already done that. So here you can see is an extra page that's got the same format. I can go back in and very quickly edit these items to make a new quick lesson guide for students. And so what I could do is click on the image and I could replace the image or change it. Now, if I go over to the left, I have options. I can go to my uploads and I can see the pictures that I've already uploaded. I'm just going to scroll down just a little bit. I use Canva so much. There are a lot of pictures on here, but there's a mosaic. I could take this mosaic image and I could drag and replace that radial design. I could click on all of the other elements. I could double click on the text so that it's highlighted blue and change it so that it might say Google Draw Mosaic. So simple little edits, and I can very quickly have a new table tent ready for students to be able to use in the classroom. And this has really been such a wonderful thing for everyone involved, my administrators and guests. So I've really gotten lots of compliments, and students have loved these. And it's also wonderful when you have student teachers coming in for them as they're getting to know students, they can use these as guides as well. So this is one thing that I have definitely said is a keeper for me, and I will continue doing because it's really been great also for those students who might miss a day and need to go back and catch up. So these are printed on just a half sheet, and I've got the layout and everything is ready, and I just need to edit, change, print, download, ready to go. So let's go back and look at some other things that we can do in your classroom, some little ideas for you. So we're going to go back to the home page. So here we are. So posters are another thing that I would definitely not want you to snooze on. I love the poster option. You can create your poster to be whatever size you want it to be. I'm really lucky we have a large color printer that we just purchased at my school, so I can actually print in large format. I tend to print 18 by 24, and I purchased some snap frames that are actually in our main hallway. And so I tend to make posters and print different images and keep everyone up to date. So I have one for each grade level and then a general one for art announcements that I keep updated throughout the year. And I can print those in poster format. So there is a poster option, and you can see that right there. I'm going to just scroll down so you can see some of my designs. There's different things that I have done. And I am going to scroll over and see if I can share with you a little glimpse of a poster that I've made. And you can see, I just love Canva, and there's been so many things that I've done. I'm actually going to go back to my folder because I have a poster that I want to show you specifically. So let me go over here, school documents. And you can see, so I've done posters on cleaning up, on art history, and on resources that students can use. I've done posters and I've also done lesson plans. That's a great template right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I've done lesson plans. So you can have your lesson plan format, add a new page, upload the images, super easy and a great way to share. But you can create all kinds of different things there. And there are so many ways you can make presentations. I have a specific poster that I want to show you because these were some that I did this past spring. So my students were virtual. So my students were virtual for the majority of the school year. And what I did when we finally came back to school, I wanted to highlight all of the creative things that my students had been doing throughout the school closure. And so when we came back, I wanted to celebrate those beautiful pieces of artwork that the students had created. So I made these posters and put them out in the main hallway and put them on the bulletin boards. And it explained the projects and what they were doing and what online tool they were using. We used Google Draw quite a bit. So we did the digital mosaics. If you want to know anything about those, definitely check out the online art teachers group. And look, you'll see a lot of different wonderful gurus. And I know Jane Montero, my friend in Michigan, she has done so much and has been so inspiring with all of the different lessons that she's done. So you can definitely see some great things about that. But that's one of the lessons that my students really enjoyed and were very successful with. So you can see I created a poster. It's an 18 by 24. I could resize the poster simply by going over here on the upper left-hand side, and I can click resize, and I could change it if I wanted to print it on a normal 8.5 by 11, or if I wanted it to be the larger size, I can choose that there and have it printed. It's great if you're doing Youth Art Month posters or if you're creating something for a school art show. This is a wonderful tool. If you don't have a printer or color printer at your school to use, these can be downloaded as a PDF and emailed to your local print shop for printing. I've found some wonderful ways that I could print locally through a couple different print shops and have gotten great quality from using Canva. So you can just see I create a little template. I have the text at the bottom. It tells a little bit about it, so it's giving information to the viewers. I've got student examples there, and I'm able to upload the student artwork directly into Canva so that I can then place it into these designs. Now, if I'm in the classroom and I'm seeing some amazing student artwork happening, I can actually go use my phone, quickly take a picture on my phone and upload it to Canva right there mobily and add it directly to a design. So that is something that you can always do. You can also connect your Google Drive through Canva. So there's different ways that you can upload images. Keep that in mind because we have students who are creating beautiful things, and when you're wanting to show off their work, this is a great way to do it. So you can see posters are a wonderful thing. You can also use these posters to share with students information, whether it's cleanup procedures. I use my own little Bitmoji this past spring. Let me see if I can show you those because I had a lot of fun with that. So I'm clicking on all my designs. And I use my Bitmoji, which I've had a lot of fun with that. And I teach middle school, so students definitely think that that's really cute. They have a lot of fun with them. But I made little posters that were near the sinks and near the doors, reminding students to wash their hands, don't touch their face, keep their social distance. And so those things were then placed around the classroom. I've used Canva to do little things for our NAEA Southeastern Leadership Conference. We've had so many different events and things going on, and Canva's been a great tool. Another thing that I have loved was I was working digitally so much, and I was doing so many things online, and my schedule changed, I don't know, 4 times throughout last school year. It was hard to keep up with everything. So I actually created my own little page desktop here. And you see this pink floral collage wallpaper. What I did is this was downloaded and was my wallpaper on my desktop. so that as I was doing different things with different classes, I could quickly look and know what the latest schedule was, because it literally was changing. It seemed like every 2 weeks this group of students was here and we changed our schedule. So it was a lot to keep up with. And this made not only a beautiful desktop that made me smile, but it also was a great reminder of when and where I needed to be and when I had duty and what day I had duty. So it's a way that you can really make things beautiful. And so I have used this to create imagery for my devices, to have kind of a wallpaper there that's beautiful to look at. I've also used it to create a wallpaper where I would put my folders and different icons so that they would be divided and kind of organized a little bit, easy to grab. I always try to work smarter, not harder. I've used Canva for quotes, and I've actually trained my students. So my students are able to use Canva, and my students have Google email accounts with the school system, and they're able to log into Canva and they're able to create their own designs. And so when Youth Art Month comes, I usually have the students create their own artwork to celebrate Youth Art Month. They might make up their own quote, and they will have that typed up with their artwork to show, and it looks so professional and beautiful, and the students are excited. And once they learn how to do this, they're able to use those skills in other classrooms as well. So when they're using it in English and science, in social studies and civics, they're able to use Canva to create documentations and presentations for their classes that really look beautiful. And they know how to use it. So it's something that I love to teach my students as well. So this is just kind of a glimpse into the potential and possibility that is Canva. Now, I'm going to keep going because it doesn't stop there. You can make presentations. And I mentioned that earlier, but you can do that. Calendars, posters, gosh, it just goes on and on. So how do we use Canva? Let's do a basic overview, okay? So I am going to go up into the upper right-hand corner, and it says create a design. That's where we start. You have to have a little idea of what you'd like to make. Will it be a poster for your classroom? Is it going to be a bulletin board little message that you want to have? Let's click there. So there are so many different options and templates that you can start with. So you don't have to start with a blank white page. You can actually start with a template. And there's actually a search bar at the top. So let's say I wanted to make a lesson plan. There are lesson plans right there, and I can look, click on lesson plan. It's going to give me an 8.5 by 11, so it's basic printer paper. Ta-da! So I have a blank canvas, and over here, templates. Yeah, there are so many different options. Now, you might do your lessons. I know when I taught elementary, I would see my students. My Monday students were always, it's kind of a rotating week. In middle school, I see my students every day for a certain amount of time. So depending on your format for your lesson plans, you can go through and find the one that really speaks to your situation. And you can change and edit. So I can go through and I can look and see if there's a particular format that I really like. So if I find one that speaks to me, and I'm just going to grab one and drop it into place so that we can check out how this works, okay? So right now it says Mrs. Baxter's. Well, that's not me. So I can double click, highlight all the text, and I can change that really quickly. Hey, it's the art ladies. It's Miss Kincaid's. Boom, that's changed. Now, if I want that text to be a different color, I can highlight that text, and up at the top, you can see I can change the font style, and I can change the color, the size, the location, different effects, but I can change the color. So if I wanted to do it to match my school mascot and theme, I could do that as well. And I can click on the color and change it to whatever color I want it to be. Just like that. Now I could go through and edit all of the different things, but one thing that I would definitely change might be the little icons at the bottom. Now I could highlight and select and edit these and delete them. I could individually, if I liked the apple, but I just didn't like the color, I could change the colors. They're right there at the top, where I can just delete all of those things and remove them. Gone, just like that. So I could upload my school mascot. I could upload some other imagery that I wanted to use. And over on the left-hand side, this is your area. So right now I'm in the templates and I can see all of the different templates. The next little item that I can click on is elements. Now, elements is going to be where you would find background colors, icons, images, shapes, photos, graphics, different things that you might want to add to your image or your document or your poster. Okay, so they're all here. Charts. I personally love the frames option. Now for the frames, imagine this as this little landscape is where your photograph that you upload would be put. So that creates a little shape of whatever. It kind of cuts your image into that shape. So I love that option. It's great. And I use that quite often. And you can see there are so many different types of frames. There's even some that look like an iPad or a Polaroid. So there's a lot of different styles that you can use that are there. There's also grids if you wanted to put a variety of them there. Also over here, you can see uploads. And with uploads, you can have your own images put in. I could look and actually search for an image, and I'm going to search for Falcon, which is my school mascot, and I had uploaded a Falcon previously, and I can add that by just clicking on it and add it into the document. I can click to resize just as you would with most different documents and put that wherever I want it to be and position it, and I could maybe relocate my name. So you can see you can start to build it to fit your style and what your school might need or want you to have in your lesson plan. And this could be printed, bound, it could be on your desk if you need to have them always available on your desk. I've been in different school situations where we've had to upload them weekly, or I've needed to have them in a binder on my desk so that if someone joined, they could walk in and be able to see that as a reference. Or if it can be digitally, you can always have it that way as well. So lots of different options, but this is a great way to really make it beautiful if you're needing to share lessons with other people as well. So that is one way. Now, I did show you how to add images or to even be able to search for images that you may have uploaded. You can also add text. Now, with the text feature, you can add a heading, a subheading, or a body of text. So depending on what you're needing to put in for your document or your poster, you can start with these basic elements. And you can change the font size, the color, the style, all of those things can easily be added and changed once you put that into your document. But I also want to point out, if I scroll down, there are some fun font combinations and styles that you can use. So you can see some of these could easily be edited for different events or posters or circumstances. And all of these, the words can be changed. Simply by clicking on the text, you can change what it says. So where it says glow, you can change that to be something different. So it doesn't have to stay those words. This is just a kind of a template, a guide. So if I were to move that over, I could then just change the text. So even like the word chill, I'm going to just drag it over so that you can see this as an example. I'm going to write falcons. And it's really big. So I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to change the size. Get down a little bit, maybe make it, I don't know, 80 is probably still a little bit big, but that's okay. There. So same styling as the chill, but I changed it to be my school mascot. Super simple, easy, and you can see that it's got kind of like a green outline. You can see that text color outline there. I can change that to a blue, and immediately that's going to change that stylization for me. So lots of ways that you can personalize any document that you make just by using those elements over here on the left-hand side. There are more options as well. You can mess with photos, styles, audio, and videos if you're doing presentations, backgrounds, removing the background as well. There are integrations you can see here where you can use maps. I love to use maps in a lot of my lessons and really help students to understand the different artists and cultures that we're studying around the world and where people have been inspired to create different things. So we look at maps quite a bit in my classroom, especially since my students are from so many different places themselves. That's a topic that we love to discuss, where we've all come from and how we've all joined forces together in our school. You can connect Google Drive. You can also share through social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. So lots of ways that you can share directly from Canva. So if you have these things finished and created, again, you can download or share in the upper right-hand corner. Now, when I've worked on something, I don't have to click any magic save button. It's going to automatically save all of my work for me, which is great. So let's say I'm working on this and, I've got to dash out and go somewhere. I've got to go to a meeting. I would be able to go on my phone and check on the app and be able to see this document immediately. It's going to share to all my devices just by simply logging in. So that's the great thing. Your work will always be there. So it's not going to disappear. I love that feature. So I'm going to just go back to the home page. So some other features that you can use Canva to create presentations. It never fails. When I have created a presentation using Canva, I'm able to add animations and GIFs and lots of different icons or graphics that really catch the eye. And they have some wonderful templates that you can get started with that make it super simple. So presentations are one thing that you can do with ease. And you can also share your presentations with a simple little link through Canva. So that's a great resource. Newsletters. Newsletters will look fabulous. Your families, parents, and administrators will love them. And students can also help you to edit and write the newsletter. So if you're working on something where you're telling about a specific grade level or project, get your students involved. I know that they will love using Canva and sharing some of their own artwork. So newsletters is a great feature. It's got some great formats and templates that you can use. You can also do social media posts, which I think is wonderful. So if we're sharing with our parents and administration and our community, advocating for our art programs, I cannot tell you how important advocacy is to art education. It's a constant for me and throughout my career. So I think it's really important. So when I'm sharing on Instagram or Twitter, I'm going to use Canva to make some of our images really stand out to get people's attention. You can use the posters, the postcards. It's really endless what you can use Canva to create. I'm a big fan. You can create Instagram stories. You can see that there. You can also make headers. So if you are using for your learning management system, Canva or Canvas, or if you are using Google Classroom, or if you are using one of the other learning management systems, and you want to create a header for your classroom, I created my Google Classroom header right here in Canva and was able to upload it. When we switched to Canvas for our management system, I was also able to create my images and my little icons and tiles for my classes. Those were then uploaded from Canva directly to Canvas. I know, those two names too much alike. In one COVID closure year, we learned so much. But you can create those things and your students will really find them memorable and will get their attention. So I've loved being able to do that. So you can see their banners, letters, especially when you're creating different things for your professional world. If you're creating a little header for the end of your emails, I love doing this. So I have a different little email closure for my personal and for my school email. And it has a little picture. It has my name and information. You can create that here on Canva. When you create a design, you just look up for your email account, what size is appropriate for the little email closures or headers, and you can upload those images directly. There you can see desktop wallpapers, Zoom backgrounds. We have all Zoomed through this last year, so that's a great way that you can personalize your Zoom background for your classes and for any videos that you might be creating. So there's so much you can do. I really encourage you to play around with some of these options and ideas so that you can really see the potential and how you can use Canva to make your lessons stand out, make your visuals for your classroom, your posters, your handouts, your worksheets. They can all be done here beautifully, and they can all have your own classroom theme. You can even do worksheets, and I wanted to show you before we close for today. If I create a design, I could type right here, worksheet or handout. You can see that there's even a spot that says art worksheet. But you can start with a blank worksheet. If you wanted those lines or fill in the blank areas, you can click. And here we are. I can see some basics over here that you can kind of go through and look. These are basic little templates. Here's one, my famous masterpiece. I actually do something in my classroom where I have students think about artwork, and they look at a piece of artwork for 5 days straight. And each day, like on Monday, they tell me about the artwork. So they're describing on Tuesday, how was it created? And so they're kind of looking at that in a little bit more in depth. By Wednesday, the I, so it's THI, they're interpreting. So they're really looking at the meaning and understandings of the artwork. And then by Thursday, it's now tell me what you think. It's giving that judgment. By Friday, they know the artist. So it's THINK, thinking about artwork. And so I could use this handout and maybe have that. I've actually created a handout for that particular thing, but this little layout that I'm seeing right here would probably work great because I could have the piece of artwork posted and then have some elements where they would maybe fill in the blank for the different elements. There's so many different ways that you can use Canva to help you create these items that you have in your classroom. Now, if you weren't doing these and printing them off and photocopying them and handing them out for your students to write on, and you are doing it digitally, and you are going to assign this to your students digitally, you can do that. You can download this PDF. You can upload it directly into your learning management system. Students could then be able to type directly into the document that you share with them. So if you've made it a PDF, they can be able to then edit and change. You could upload it into a Google Doc or whatever your format for your school system might be using. So this is a great way to create those handouts easily, quickly, that students can then fill in and have fun being able to do their worksheets, whether it's virtually or right there, handwriting and drawing. I do love to have my students look at artwork and draw their own interpretations or change it or circle in where certain different compositional elements might be. So there's lots of ways that you can use these handout options as something that could be used both virtually and in person with printed paper. I can't beat drawing and actually getting that pencil to paper out. So I'm not going to shy away from that as well as we move forward. But I wanted to show you these because all of this can then be quickly edited and changed. I can go over, change the text, add different elements to it. I can also look for different images that I might want to see. So if I go to elements, I could search. Let's just, for fun, I'm going to type in Van Gogh. Look, there's a cute little Van Gogh. Little cartoon Van Gogh. That's cute. So you never know what you're going to find. Just start searching, start playing, and I really am looking forward to seeing what you create. So let's go back to the home page. So in closing, Canva is a great resource for educators, students, and anyone alike. You can design anything. The page says it right there. Design anything. It's up to you and your imagination. Have fun. Sky's the limit. Posters, worksheets, handouts. Update that resume. I don't know. I want to see what you create using Canva. Share with me because I'm going to be inspired by you. So please go forth, create on Canva, share with me all of your tips and tricks that you learn along the way. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the socials. I'm Holly Bess Kincaid in Virginia, in Harrisonburg, and you can find me on most social media as Art Lady HBK. Thanks so much, and I hope you have fun creating. Bye for now.